the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Don't wake me up. Mixed dream and a dream don't touch. I've been taken up. Being shown in a vision, curiosity got me stuck. Yeah, 7 hands, 10 horns on the waters, raising up, praising up. I see crowds, flaming floors. Is it a war at the door? I've been searching for it. I can't get it out of my head. I see the stars are falling down. There's tempers upon my bed. The chase goes on and on. I'm not giving it up. 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 I'm at the point understanding dreams are the real time. Reason why they wake me up. I try moving on, but my body is stuck. My conscience is raised, an angel pick me up. Awaken from this matrix. Looking down on the globe, blood dripping from his robe. I know he can fix this. I see you burning Rome, and our people coming home. Can I please get a witness? Witness, I'm not coming down till I get this. These predictions can't be superstition. The decision being shown in the vision is just yeah, I can't get it out of my head. I see the stars are falling down. There's tempers upon my bed. The chase goes on and on. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. Ooh, I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. No, I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. I can't stop these visions haunting me. It's not a dream. It's something lying between our dreams and reality. Called prophecy. Oh Lord, I'm a century old. I can't get it out of my head. I see the stars are falling down. There's tempers upon my bed. The chase goes on and on. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. Ooh, I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. No, I'm not giving it up. Giving up. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shah of the Gathering of Christ Church. Thank you for your patience. Shabbat Shalom to my brothers and sisters throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Blessings, blessings, and I hope you are prepared for a serious lesson today. A serious lesson. You heard the song. We're not giving up the prophecies. We're going to prophesy as the Most High give us power to do so, to connect the dots in the last days. We're not giving it up. Breaking down the visions, bringing forth understanding until the coming of our Lord and Savior, Yeshua. Hit the like button. You see the title and you know it's going to be in depth. Blessings, brothers and sisters. The end of the prophetic war is our lesson today. Hold on. Come on now. Hit the like button. Come on. Shalom. Oh, yeah. It's time to break down this book today, folks. There's so many things going on in the earth right now. Without any further ado, hit the like button. Let's bring in Elder Lawyer side by side. I didn't want him on that road today. I say, you know what? Just stay back. We'll do it this way, and we'll come together next week. And of course, we got to prepare for the academy tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Elder Lawyer, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm blessed by the Almighty. Good to see you, nice and healthy, young man. And brother, there's so many things going on in the earth right now. And guess what? America is doing a great job keeping most people distracted while bombs are going off everywhere in the Middle East. All right?
Right.
So I thought I would talk about that today in our lesson. The end of a prophetic war. And what we're going to do is quantify why the Most High is allowing this to go down and what's actually happening in real time prophetically. You don't hear exactly what's going on. I'm talking about the whole biblical spectrum when it comes to what part our people has in this and the other nations. And it's not as if other people out there teaching or whatever the case is. It's not like they're not hitting on some serious points, but they're more so dealing with, the judgment of earth based on how bad the earth has become due to sin, which is correct. But that's usually the scope of the prophecies. Bad people are bad. God is going to judge bad people. And that's the general consensus you see with Bible teachers, without showing and breaking down the dynamics of all the pieces on this chessboard called earth. And I thought we could quantify it today, especially going into what we'll be talking about in the next academy. And I'm going to touch on this after we're going to talk about it before we go into the lesson in of itself. Let me tell you, Elder Lawyer, when the Most High stated through Christ, when Christ stated, that the kingdom is for a few. It's clear, living in the dynamics of what's going on right now, what Christ meant by that.
Right.
The majority of the earth, now that I'm really examining this, are unbelievers. The majority. And I'm talking about predominantly Christians in particular. They really don't believe the Bible. Okay? It's more so the recreational part of becoming a part of some organization that the community can get together with the facade of praise towards Christ. But there's nothing to actually reflect their belief after they leave outside the church. The community is in reverse to what they claim they believe in and uphold. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because we're living in a time where all of our people everywhere in the communities are asking questions or at least seeking answers.
Right.
And the pastors, the community teachers within our communities have no answers for them. And I'm saying this is because, I'm speaking to these so-called believers who are Christians, pastors too, right now, who are stomping for Kamala Harris, for Kamala. And I'm like, it must be that veil that Christ said is over those who look at the word, right? And they see it with the veil over their eyes, whether it be those who don't believe in Christ or Christians who really don't believe in Christ, but only in name, where there's a veil over their eyes and they can only see through the glass very dimly. And I'm saying, and I'm speaking to this person as if they're under some type of spell, for lack of a better word. It's like every 4 years, I think it really magnifies the depth of unbelief that's on our people. Mainly the pastors who's supposed to be leading the sheep through these wars. And let me tell you, Elder Lawyer, it's a shame. I'm speaking to pastors and they'll say, and I say, let me give an example before we go into this.
Yes, sir.
I spoke to a pastor today, this morning before I came on. And he was like, well, I'm leaning independent, but never Trump. I wasn't even talking about Trump. I'm asking him, do he agree with the promotion of homosexuality?
Right.
Do he believe in the killing of our babies, the ritualistic killing of our children under the guise of abortion? Do he believe in the breakup of family and the promotion of anti-family? And he doesn't believe in any of this. And I said, so why are you supporting a party that have destroyed our community for decades and that's all they push? Isn't that against your belief in Christ, your stance on good against evil? And guess what he said? You'll never guess. This is where he went. Well, Trump is worse. I said, sir, I'm not even talking about Trump. Okay? We don't vote for Republicans. So why every time I'm looking and speaking to you when it comes to accountability, you go to them when we vote Democrat at the clip of almost 90%? Why is that your default response? I'm like, aren't you against evil?
Right.
And the only thing I could understand or come to a conclusion with is that they walk with a veil over their eyes. And they believe government is their God. But I think I said something before the conversation was over that kind of resonated, and then I'm going to go into the lesson. I said, let's separate the two, Democrat and Republican. And let's be honest. I said, when it comes to either party, will you agree at least that the Republicans do more for those who vote for them than Democrats do for those who vote for them? Would you admit that the Republicans take care of their people better than the Democrats take care of us? And Elder, he said, you know what? I never even examined it that way. He says, but I can see that. I'm like, well, okay. Well, until our next conversation, I'll leave it there. I don't want you to believe I'm a Republican. I thought we both believed in the same Christ. So don't leave this call calling people in the neighborhood, telling people that Ricard went off and he's Republican. I just want you to look outside the box, the paradigm, and understand that you are betraying the Christ you claim to serve. And people are seeking you to guide them out of this. Okay? Your people, it doesn't matter how many people in your church, they're going to trust in you as a man of God to lead them through this. So let's agree that the Republicans take more care of their people than the Democrats take care of our people. Because no sense in talking about how bad Trump is, because our people don't vote for Trump. But I can tell you this, the Republicans take care of their people. Okay? And that's wrong that we, God's people, are always slighted. And even by those we trust, they keep us, it's as if they are working for the Republicans to keep us on the bottom then. Right? So I guess that resonated a little bit with him. But I believe, Elder, every 4 years, a magnifying glass is actually placed on how far our people, or people in general, because I hear even whites and other people, this goes across racial lines, who are totally delusional. Every 4 years, it magnifies how delusional the world is. Okay? They're silent. When there's no election cycle, it's total silence. But soon as the election cycle comes around, they forget that they were acting the same way and saying the same things 4 years ago. And guess what? They have more to complain about every 4 years. And it's a direct result of who they chose. Delusion. Delusion. Let's go in, Elder Lawyer. What am I going into today? The end of the prophetic war. We're going to quantify in the earth what's going on geopolitically according to the Bible. Now, Elder Lawyer, if you can, let's start off with the Hebrew Credo.
Yes, sir. Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Achad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Now, we're about to go into the lesson, the end of the prophetic war. Let me also mention, while going into this dovetails what we're going to be going into starting November 10th with the next installment of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. The fall of the last empire will be the theme. And also we're going to have special guests on. I'm going to call Dr. Goodman, and I'm going to speak to my brother Raphael, the one that he used to play for the NFL, about nutrition, getting ourselves together, knowing that we must get our bodies together for what's about to face us with these immigrants coming against our people within the trenches. That and more. We're also going to have some special guests and a panel when it comes to those from the outside of the United States to give a perspective. Why? Because a different perspective geopolitically, because the news we receive in America is watered down, dumbed down, so that we can't understand what's going on from a worldly perspective. So we're going to have our guests this particular academy. We're going to also break down many new lessons that you would like to be a part of. Okay? The election outcomes, and we're doing this running up into the election, so I'm sure something deep is going to happen. They're talking about some terrorist act might happen before or during the election. The FBI is bringing out their so-called claim that they foiled the plot of some terrorists who came over the border, who was planning to do something on election day. So usually that's predictive programming and really adjusting our people to accept what might happen. The next event. Let's put it that way. Okay. Election outcomes, war in the Middle East, hurricanes, earthquakes, strikes, everything. We're going to talk about it. How the majority of things we see in the earth are not by chance. They're planned to bring us into the what? The plans they have to lock the earth down by 2030. And I'm going to talk about this. Okay. The final path to the mark that leads to Christ is coming. We're going to discuss that. The return of the hidden gods. The gods coming from behind the dark wall. Okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. Your politicians are worshiping fallen gods, some who are bound in the earth. Daniel 7, the fall of America and the fall of the last empire will be the theme. Do me a favor, brothers and sisters. If this interests you, go to historytimes.org and be a part of this prophetic 3 months that's coming starting November 10th. I really appreciate all you do to support the work. You don't want to miss this groundbreaking academy. I wanted to put that out there. Okay. Next, also, when we begin to get up next to the election, Elder, what happens is they begin serious censorship on these platforms, or they more so make more stringent rules that would lead to strikes and all these others. Well, right. The more we get close to this election, just like COVID and everything else, the less we can actually say without being censored. Sometimes they make up guidelines as it goes, okay? So because of this, I understand that there's going to be a need for members and those who are subscribed to this channel to reach out to us in the event of an emergency. Well, and that's why I'm asking brothers also to join Patreon. Patreon.com/agathering144. If you join the Patreon, of course, there's a $5 a month membership, okay? But there is a free option where you can still subscribe to Patreon under the free option and get notifications. You'll get the limited content we have there as free members, not the lives and all that, but you would get limited content that we have there. But in the event of an emergency, we can connect with you real time, folks, through notifications. We can reach out to you and ask, what's your phone number? Let me talk to you in your area. This is what's going on. We have deacons and officers in the area that can reach out to you because it's going down. All right. So Patreon give us that one-on-one connection with you that's not allowed here. Subscribers, we can't send a private message to any of our subscribers on this platform. They set it up that way. But on Patreon, even if you are a free Patreon member and subscribe to our page, you'll get all notifications, and any notifications in the event of an emergency, you'll have it real time through Patreon. So become a Patreon member, Patreon.com/agathering144. Now, Elder Lawyer, before we go into anything, let's go into, I want to talk about the delusion that's on the people first.
Yes, sir.
The delusion that's on the people. If you can, Elder Lawyer, let's get Matthew 12. And read 46.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew 12, verse number 46.
Yes.
While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him.
So here it is. Christ was prophesying, teaching the people. And while he was teaching, his family members came out, pressed upon the crowd that was there to hear Christ's words. Now, they weren't there before the crowd. See? They weren't there at the grassroots. They were there because what? The notoriety of Christ that came from the grassroots works. And now everybody is talking about this boy from Jerusalem who grew up into this great miracle worker. And now here comes family. Read.
47. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. 48. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother? And who are my brethren?
Come on.
And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. 50. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my mother, or the same is my brother, and sister, and mother.
We have to get out of this thing of believing that we can get our family members to understand exactly what's going on, only to be what? Only to be responded upon with vitriol. The more we try to help them and wake them up, the more what? The more they begin to show some level of dissension or hatred against us. So sometimes you have to let people be. And this also applies to people you grew up with. Because unfortunately, they'll always see you as that individual they knew growing up before the Most High called you to understand. It doesn't matter that the Most High have taken you on a journey, open your eyes to actually help your loved ones. They'll never see you like that. They'll always see you as that person that grew up and, that they didn't respect past who they knew. Because what? Generally, people are carnal. Okay? And they can't believe that the Most High could take someone from nowhere that they knew and exalt them with power to lead God's people. Okay? They'll always look at you weird, like, are you another person or whatever the case is? But they'll never recognize it's the Most High in you that's trying to help them. And that's why Christ stated, well, listen, understand my family is the family you see here working with me. Because my Father have called us into one family. So just because, let me tell you, people of blood and all that, and you grew up, sometimes that can be a stumbling block to them to understand you, because they know all your faults growing up. See, they knew you before the Most High called you and can't see past that. So learn how to do what? State what the Most High have you to say, and after the second or third admonition, shake off the dust of your feet. You plant a seed, let them be. Don't argue with them. Don't go back and forth with them, because why? There's a dark veil over their eyes. And usually what has to happen for a person, like it happens to all of us, they have to be brought low. So that they can see the Most High as we seen him in our low estate. And some people aren't ready to receive that that part of the transformation. So you plant a seed, don't fight back and forth with them. I'm sitting there speaking to a person, and listen, this woman is a Hindu from someplace else, lying about her family, a straight liar that they've given to us. And we have this Messiah complex to worship everyone they put before us, even if these people are antichrist. I'm not fighting with the people I used to know anymore. I'm going to warn them and shake the dust of my feet. These people have stomped us into the ground, and we're still operating in hope that they're going to actually do right by us. Matthew, since we're in Matthew, Elder.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Matthew 12. Matthew 10, excuse me. We're in Matthew 12. Matthew 10 and 34. And write these down, brothers and sisters. Write these down, all right? This is Christ. Let's read.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew 10 and 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
And this is Christ speaking to us. Why? When you receive some good news and revelation from the Most High that you know only could have come from him, you seek to spread the word. You seek to have them see what the Most High has opened your eyes to see. But it doesn't work like that. He says, don't you know that I'm not coming for peace? Look around. In order for my people to rise, war must impend on earth. And that's on every level. So what we're witnessing all over the earth, wars and rumors of wars, is not just on the grand level of nuclear war. The war will even be in your own home. Your loved ones. Those you thought understood you. Read.
35. For I came to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Now I need y'all to understand that Satanists and atheists would try to twist this. What type of Christ would cause division? Well, the division comes when what? When one walk away from the moral upbringing they received in their home. A division happens when you teach your child about God in Christ, and they'll knock on your door one day and say, I have something to drop on you. Okay. Your son knocks on the door and says, oh, by the way, mama, I need to tell you that I'm in transition right now. I was non-binary, but now I've decided to become female. Okay. So that's when the sword comes. Boom. See? Mm-hmm. You train up your child correctly, but they went out and chose Satan. They chose to make themselves a demonic idol. So now Christ brings a separation. So when it says, I'm separating you, that's what it's talking about. He's not causing the division. The division is happening because the majority of the people in the earth who once believed in him are choosing another God. And keep in mind, there's only two powers or forces to be served on this earth: good and or evil. Come on.
36. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
A man's foes shall be those of his own household. Like if you have people with common sense and logical thinking, they're not going to have some vermin like Fauci come out and say, yeah, you got to mask up and lock yourself in the house. And you will sit there and listen to this mess. And now, where there was no issues because you have a person who believes in Christ who's logical and thinking that, hold up, this is all crazy. I have faith in Christ. They're trying to scare us. You have a logical person saying, I'm not going for what they're saying on the television. And now your family members have now become your enemies. Don't come in his house because you could be tracking the virus up in here. Out of their minds. Anything the news report, they carry Satan's water and begin an infighting against their own family members. That means they love those that are sending the signal, the Satanists, and trust them more than God and the family they are now have turned against. Out of their minds. And see, that's why the Most High says a man's foe shall be there of his own household. Certain events, when things go wrong and there's certain issues in the earth, that's when you know who you're actually locked up in the house with. Okay? That's when you know, like, hold up. In an emergency, I don't know if I want to be around this person. But they're going to panic every time the media tells them something. Are you getting your signal from the media, or are you getting your signal from God? A man's enemy shall be they of their own household. You know why? Because you start talking about what's right and saying, well, you shouldn't want to kill your children at birth and call it reproductive freedom. You shouldn't want to, if you are a Christian, you shouldn't be seeking to vote for a Hindu who's a pagan worshiping many gods, married to the synagogue of Satan. You shouldn't be seeking to vote for Mrs. Imhoff, who don't even, and her husband don't even believe in Christ. She don't believe in Christ. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. You know how much infighting is going on in our neighborhoods right now just because people are waking up and stating, you know what? I'm not going for this Democrat Party line anymore. I'm not going for it. These people are crazed nuts. People are starting to realize it. They're out of their mind. They're radical with it too. And it's like, well, nah. People are starting to say, you know what? I'm good. A man's foes shall be they of their own household. Read.
Yes, sir. 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me.
Exactly. He that loved father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. That's what Christ said. I don't care what mama come up talking about, yeah, you better wear your mask up and listen, and all this other crap. Okay? No, not doing it. I'm going to tell you, they saying it's floating around outside. Y'all better not track the virus up in here. Simple as the day is old. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Read.
And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
Yeah, because sometimes your children will go to college and think because they get this radical type of indoctrination that makes them, and guess what? Their professors program them into believing that they're more intelligent than their parents. Okay? I don't care how many books you read or how much smoke your professor blow up your behind. I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm going to drop it on you right now. Wisdom comes with time. And I don't care how much you learn, there's something that person who've lived a long time has received that will benefit you long term. So you got children who will come, yeah, mom, I'm a doctor now, and they told me that, yeah, it's time for me to inoculate everybody in the house. Or they'll come with some crazy religion to try to destabilize the house. See, that's what Christ means, that he's going to divide. You know what? I'm going to separate my people from all these nut jobs who believe they know something and are really delusional and out of their minds. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthier than me. If you trust the world more than Christ, well, guess what? You're not worthy of what Christ provides. And you know what Christ provides if you truly believe in him? He provides peace of mind. He provides what? A non-worry life, even while chaos is going on. Why worry when the Most High have given you understanding to why it's all happening? And why worry about the things you can't control anyway? See? See, usually people panic and they go off and become anxious. That shows their lack of faith. Not that people cannot walk through this earth concerned. Okay? But there's a difference between being concerned and anxious over everything and worried and fearful. When fear is a tool that's to be utilized by the elite to control the fearful. Right? So let's talk about it. So Christ told us, hey, don't worry about the people who think they know you. Warn them and keep going. What we must do is what? 38.
And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me.
So we must follow Christ. All these so-called Christians out there who's trusting in government are cowards. And there's no other word to describe them. You can't say you have faith in Christ and are running scared too. See? He that taketh not his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. That, you know what? And we're willing to take all the slings that come with it. Because we understand by taking up the cross, all of our burdens and worries falls on him. He handles those things. We just have to do his will and bring his word and help deliver God's people. And all the worries that the world has on them, guess what? We don't have that. That goes on our Christ. We pick up our cross, which is what? We work daily to bring forth the kingdom as he did. And it's his spirit that'll lead us. We don't fear the God of this world. See? Neither his minions. Understand this. Read.
39. He that findeth his life shall lose it.
And that's why so many people are fearful in all these things, because they're easily controlled in fear of what they're going to lose. Oh yeah, I got to take this or I might lose my job. And the next thing you know, listening to these people, now you're pushing up daisies. Listening to these people. You lost your job. You kept your job, but you lost your life. He that findeth his life shall lose it. And see, and that's why a lot of people out there don't want to really understand and deal with Christ. Because they fear the life that they have developed in this earth. And guess what? To let you know, they do understand some things concerning the sacrifice it takes to do the will of God. They'll look at it and say, well, hold up. I don't know if I choose to do this, whether or not the life I provided for myself will continue the same. Well, that's the whole point. The whole point to see faith, you must be willing to be stripped of everything to be built in the image of God's Son. You must be willing I'm going to tell you, you must be willing to lose your job, to lose your house, to lose everything, your family, to be dead broke. You must be willing to sacrifice everything to stand on that rock called Christ. And so many people are afraid to do it. And now, in hindsight, and seeing, going to the bottom, having everything stripped away, folks, it was the best thing that have ever happened to me. Because the world I built for myself that I thought was secure was a prison I built for myself where I couldn't scale beyond it. But when you're stripped from the bottom with the Most High, guess what? It's Him with you on that trajectory on the way up, all the way. And you'll receive more by getting rid of this life than you did holding on to it, than you thought you could holding on to it. And that's another thing why there's not much faith amongst Christians, is because they see what they've accumulated and they believe that if they trust in the Most High, follow the commandments, and start doing what God say, they're fearful of what their friends might think, what their boss might think. See? Whether or not they can go to some of the gatherings that made them happy. How people might perceive them. See? But if you're going to be down with Christ, hey, you must pick up your cross and understand that anybody that's going to cut you off from doing what's right, guess what? They don't belong in that circle blessed by your presence anyway. If they're going to cut you off and ostracize you and look down on you for trying to be a better person following God's word, they weren't supposed to be in your life from the beginning. Huh? Right? So, Elder Lawyer, we're going to jump in real quick.
Yes, sir.
Right? There's so many things going on. Wars. Rumors of wars. Right? I'm going to play this real quick. I'm going to play this real quick. Some of what's not getting reported over here. Fair use for educational purposes only.
This morning, Twitter, now called X, exploded with claims that Iran has conducted its first ever nuclear test. In other words, Iran is a nuclear power, according to these claims on social media. Users are making a direct link to yesterday's 4.5 magnitude earthquake, 28 kilometers from Gocc in Semnan province of Iran, to Iran's potential nuclear test. According to these claims, the tremor was directly as a result of this nuclear test. Before I look at the basis of these claims and other relevant aspects, let's see who is saying what about this extraordinary claim. This is a tweet from user Adam, who has in excess of 167,000 followers and frequently tweets on the Middle East conflict. He tweeted, and I quote, "Breaking speculation that Iran's earthquake was the result of a nuclear test. The Kavir Desert, a large open desert area near Semnan, rarely has earthquakes." End of quote. User The Tribe of Truth also tweeted, and I quote, "If you were not sure that Iran has actually tested a nuke, check this seismograph that a station in Armenia picked up. Also, please compare that to other underground tests conducted by other nuclear powers and see the difference between a nuclear test and a regular earthquake. End of quote. User Nadra Ali with 108,000 followers asked, has Iran conducted a nuclear test? User St. Letsip, based in South Africa with close to 300,000 followers, tweeted, and I quote, North Korean underground nuclear tests caused earthquakes. Iran hours ago issued a NOTAM over planned military exercise until October the 9th, and that was followed by an earthquake. They warned Israel of an unconventional response in case of an attack. Iran is most likely testing a nuclear bomb. End of quote. Similar claims were made by other users. So what's the truth in these claims?
Fair use.
A pro-Israeli Twitter handle, OSINT Defender, with over 1.2 million followers, had tweeted on Saturday, claiming that the Iranian Civil Aviation Authority had released a notice to air missions, or NOTAM, for a majority of its western airspace, stating that commercial flight paths through these areas will be closed every night for military exercise between 1700 and 0130 UTC. So those claiming that Iran has indeed conducted a nuclear test are using this NOTAM notice to justify their claims. They're asking as to why would you close down your airspace for certain durations every night. According to them, the notice was to clear the Iranian airspace so that the nuclear test could be conducted. In April this year, when Iran and Israel were close to a full-blown war after Israeli terrorists illegally bombed an Iranian diplomatic mission in Damascus and the West remained silent, one prominent Iranian lawmaker had stunned everyone by saying that his country could easily make an atom bomb within a week. Javed Karimi Godusi, a former military commentator and member of Iran's National Security Commission, had said that his country was technically able to enrich uranium to 90% purity for warheads in half a day, or let's say 1 week, and that the IAEA, which is the watchdog, was aware of Tehran's capabilities. James Acton is an American physicist and wide-ranging nuclear policy expert who co-directs the nuclear policy program at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Now, for those who don't know what this organization is, Carnegie is a globally renowned non-partisan international affairs think tank headquartered in Washington, D.C., with operations in Europe, South Asia, East Asia, and the Middle East. Acton told the journal that Israel will be foolish to target Iranian nuclear facilities, and it wasn't going to be as smooth sailing for Israel as it was in 1981 when it bombed Iraqi nuclear facility in Iraq. He goes on to say, and I quote, but the Iranian program today is based around centrifuges, which are very small and can be manufactured quickly and placed almost anywhere. So even if an Israeli attack destroys Iran's current centrifuge plants as Fordo and Natanz, and it's not obvious to me that Israel has the capability to destroy Fordo, which is buried inside a mountain, but even if Israel can destroy Iran's existing centrifuge plants, Iran is almost certainly going to reconstruct centrifuge facilities. In fact, it may already have clandestine centrifuge facilities. We don't know, but even if it doesn't, it will construct. I feel very certain more centrifuge facilities potentially at multiple sites, some of them potentially hidden in plain sight inside normal industrial buildings, and some of them buried even deeper than Fordo. So they are definitely out of the range of the Israelis. End of quote. So clearly, even this American expert on nuclear matters thinks that Israel is incapable of destroying the Iranian nuclear facilities. Going by what Acton has to say, it's also very clear that Iran is capable of producing nuclear bombs if it had the resolve to do so. But can a nuclear test produce 4.2 magnitude tremor? Let's look at the magnitude of tremors felt when India, or for that matter, North Korea, conducted nuclear tests. A study by University of California, Berkeley Seismology Lab concluded that the Pokhran nuclear test by India in 1998 had caused a tremor of 4.7 magnitude. What's being reported from Iran at the moment is 4.2 magnitude tremor. A similar study by University of California, Santa Cruz on the impact of North Korea's nuclear test in 2017. That report said, and I quote, the 2017 nuclear test caused a magnitude 6.3 earthquake, according to the US Geological Survey, and produced sound waves recorded by seismometers around the world. End of quote. Once again, what's being reported at the moment from Iran is a 4.2 magnitude earthquake. So clearly, nuclear tests are capable of causing bigger tremors than what's being reported from Iran. Look, war is not good. We all know that. And if Israel wants the region to be set on fire, it's because this settler colony is run by maniacs, sponsored by another group of Zionist maniacs sitting in the US, namely Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken. Let's hope that these Zionists never succeed in setting the entire region on fire and killing more and more innocent lives. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for your support of this platform. If you do think that this platform is worth supporting and our journalism is worth promoting, then you too should consider.
Okay, so real quick, what is the media hiding geopolitically when it comes to news? The fact that there was great earthquakes over in the Middle East based on the fact that Iran is testing and readying their nuclear missiles. Earthquakes in diverse places according to Christ's words. Matthew 24. Well, as a result of these earthquakes, that's right, digging in the ground, digging in the fault lines, and for the oil, the mineral resources to sustain their satanic infrastructures. And then on top of that, a lot of these earthquakes are shocks from nuclear testing. No one have said this in the United States media. This is what's going on while they have you looking at P. Diddy. Okay? Now check this out. And I'm going to quantify everything for you all today. We're going to get some real news today. Then I'm going into the prophecies of what to look for. More news that's not getting reported in the daughter of Babylon today. There's a mass exodus. Israel records sharp rise in citizens permanently leaving the country amid conflict. Folks, it's up 200, what they say is up 284% of mass migration. They're scurrying to get out of Israel. Right? Right now. "16 minutes ago, this was updated from the Independent. Israel, Lebanon, latest 19 dead and thousands trapped as Israeli forces strike Jabalia refugee camps. Women and children are getting bombed over there in Lebanon. Right? Now let's talk Turkey. Between 1946 to 2024, Israel has received more foreign aid than any other country. $300 billion is given from the United States. From the United States now, folks. There's aid that comes from other countries, the international bodies, towards Israel too. But America alone has given up $300 billion since they so-called were restored back to Israel in fear of what just happened during a quote-unquote so-called Holocaust. Only to be what? Killing people in the thousands, and since they've been over there, in the millions if you count since the wars of 1946 leading up into our current time. Mass murders. And America has given what? If you believe these numbers, $300 billion of your taxpayers' money, folks. But they'll tell you they have nothing for you. Ukraine. Look at this. And this is the Council on Foreign Relations. How much U.S. aid is going to Ukraine? Let's talk about it. This was updated September 2024. Let's look at the numbers here. See that? Let me blow this up so you all can see it. Congress has passed the 5 bills appropriating $175 billion in response to Russia's February 22 invasion of the Ukraine. While most of the spending of aid going to the government of the Ukraine, a large portion is funding other U.S. government activities associated with the war. As of January 2023, it was $47.4 billion. As of April 2024, now it's still counting because the Biden and Kamala administration just cut Ukraine and Israel another check that aren't on these lists. 61.3 billion given to Ukraine. Now, if you look at Ukraine, they link directly to the Khazarian Empire. When it comes to the Khazars, they are connected, same bloodline, Edomites. The same thing with the people are being funded in Israel today. They're Edomites. So what will this all result to? Right? Now look at this. 300 billion since 1946. So what are they really over there for? Foreign aid, 61.3 billion. But yet they claim that they can't do anything for the children of Judah who built this country. Oh yeah, they got something for our people. Okay, they got all the money that took for what? Our families to build this country through slave labor. And they received everything. But they got something for us. Abortion, because we can't afford to actually take care of our families. Because you can't afford your children, we'll allow you to kill your children under abortion with no consequences. So I don't want to hear from anyone claiming that there's no money to do what's right according to God. That's first and foremost, if we're talking Turkey. Let's get that out of the way. First of all, we're dealing with an unrighteous world, an unrighteous world government. But I'm going to show you where all this goes. Bear with me. I'm slow walking this for you all. Elder Lawyer, let's get Ezekiel 33 real quick.
Yes, sir.
So yes, Iran are testing their nuclear bombs right now. Now, what does that mean for the world prophetically? Hence the reason we've titled this The End of a Prophetic War. And please, brothers and sisters, hit that like button for me. Ezekiel 33 and 15. Read that for me, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Ezekiel 33, verse number 15. If the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walk in the statutes of life, without committing iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die.
He shall surely live. He shall not die. So when you see our people who are finally, a lot of us, the majority of us are waking up and realizing that, you know what? We're going to start asking for the right things like every other people. We're not asking, our people aren't asking the governments to give us anything. We're asking the governments of the earth to pay us what they owe us, owe our families for hundreds of years of slave labor. So you're not given no handouts. It's what you owe. And the Bible states what? If the wicked restore the pledge and give again that he had robbed, what you stole. And do what's right according to God's word, that the Most High would actually spare these nations. They continue to rob us. We work our behinds off, fought in every war, only for them to ship money off to strange lands, people who have no blood, sweat, or tears in war, and had no hand in making America the great country it has become. Every time they send money to these other countries, they're robbing us. Every time they give the money to strangers, that Kamala, the Hindu, East Indian, and Biden, who have always hated black people, anytime they give a dime to these illegal immigrants, they're robbing us. They're stomping our people in the ground. They're separating us economically on purpose, to where there's no recourse but for us to turn to our God and plead and pray to our God, who would do what? Plead our cause. They know what they're doing, and they know exactly who they're doing it against. They know what they're doing, and they know exactly who they're doing it against. This is the constant oppression of God's people. How can the Ukrainians mean more to America than us? How can the state of Israel mean more to America than us? One moment here. I need y'all to think about this, folks. They're rather let in strangers and pay these people to oppress us than do what's right by the people who built this country. And let me tell you this, brothers and sisters, we have to get out of this black or brown thing. This black or brown people. Because that gives these other nations who have destroyed us the opportunity to come and divvy up the resources that only was allocated for our people who fought through civil rights. We got to get rid of this minority garbage. Listen, let me tell you, Elder Lawyer, if we were dealing politically, I would say, if you come from another country, you must identify as white. Therefore, all the resources that go to them, you can cut into their pie. If you're gay and black, identify as white. This way you can cut into what belongs to them, because they're the one who's incentivizing you to come over to cut away anything that was given to our people. We have to get out of this black or brown thing, because it only means that they cut away with what our people died for. You got Asians going to HBCUs under black and brown, getting education so they can come into our neighborhoods to become our slave masters. No, if you come into the country, you must identify as white. Okay? There's not enough for our people already, and everyone that comes identifying as black and brown is to undercut and to destroy the children of Israel and do what? Compound the oppression that's already on our people. And now our people are suffering. But guess what? The Most High has heard the plea. See what's going on in Lebanon right now? See what's going on in Gaza? Let me tell you something, folks. I'm going to tell you. It's the double cross. All the nations that have conspired together with Esau against us, now Esau has turned on his allies. Let's go, Elder Lawyer, to the book of Amos real quick and show you why the Palestinians are under rubble right now. Now, and again, I feel for any women, children, or people who are unjustly being destroyed in this world. You can't help but empathize during the time of war. But we have to look at this prophetically. When our people were taken down in 70 AD, blacks, we were the original owners of Israel. We're the people. All the other nations, including the children of Lot, went into our country and was given parts of land in their alliances with the ancient Roman Empire for helping Rome take us out. Ammon and Moab. Ammon are the Jordanians. Moab are the Palestinians. They had a hand in destroying our people, black people, the children of Judah, in 70 AD, which as a result, we had to flee out of different parts of Jerusalem due to the war. Those of us who couldn't escape, our women were raped, our children were sold into slavery, and our men was thrown in the arenas and became the gladiators. We had to fight. We had to fight lions. We had to fight all types of, just to win our freedom. And if you were a Jew or an Israelite and a Christian, they would just have game on us, tie us up, and just let animals tear us apart in the arenas. And you know what? Our God was looking down on it all. And see, God is not mocked. Any nation who have destroyed our people and continue to politically malign us and undermine us, guess what? You reap what you sow. Our people are being attacked and don't even know why. And because we need someone to blame it on, because it has to be someone's fault, we just look on the surface and say the white man. Folks, all nations have conspired together. They have taken turns against us. They've passed us around. So that we don't even understand that, okay, it's not just Esau. We have to look into these black and brown people who are now seeking for us to stand up and say, you know what? Free Palestine. No, free the children of Israel. Benjamin, Levi, Judah. We're the oppressed, and you're seeking the oppressed to stand up against the injustice at a time when the Most High is bringing judgment in the Middle East. So the children of Lot, who are in particular the Jordanians and the Palestinians, here is their judgment right now. Elder Lawyer, let's get Amos. Amos 1 and 13, Elder.
Yes, sir. Amos chapter 1, verse number 13. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have ripped up the women with child of Gilead, that they might enlarge their border. But I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbah, and it shall devour the palaces thereof, with shouting in the day of battle, with a tempest in the day of the whirlwind.
Ammon is Jordan. The Most High is going to destroy Jordan with fire. I'm going to bring Moab into this too. Moab are the Palestinians. But the Jordanians, this is why the Israelis, that's right, who took over that land, Edomites who were placed in the land to only disrupt the Middle East. That's what they're there for, because all the Edomites, that tell you, would go back to their home countries. These were Eastern Europe's. They're Romans. Roman babies. Just because you are an Israeli doesn't mean you are an Israelite. That's citizenship. A black person or a Chinese person who's a citizen of Israel is an Israeli. Okay, don't get it twisted. So they put that word Israeli there to make people believe prophetically that the prophecies of Israelites fall on them. No, that's his citizenry. And the whites who have disturbed that country, because that's what they were there to do, to disturb the Middle East, only to go back home like they're doing now, will leave the whole Middle East destitute. That's their part in prophecy. It was never meant for them to rule from Israel. There will be no Messiah ruling from Israel until our king leads us back there. And his name is Christ. With a tempest in the day of the whirlwind, read.
15. And their king shall go into captivity, he and his princes together, saith the Lord.
Saith the Lord. That according to the Bible, what you're seeing right now, is prophetic. So their leaders and all of that are going into servitude. And it's beginning now. The Jordanians are going to go down. The Lebanese are going to go down. And the Moabites are going to go down. Who are the Palestinians? Because they're all in cahoots together. They were in cahoots together to take our people down in 70 AD. We ran into different parts of Portugal, Spain. We were called the Moors. It was our technology that helped build Europe as Israelites. And they hid the fact that we were Israelites. Anytime they would write books on our ingenuity, our science, our intelligence, they would hide the fact that we were Israelites, and they begin to call us Moor. Moor only means black. The Arabs are complicit in this. They knew that we were Israelites. And then they started claiming to be Moors, to claim that, no, that was just, these were Arabs, the Moors were. Liars. Liars. Esau came together and says, well, we're going to rename that geography in the mid. We're going to call it the Middle East, which is utterly ridiculous. To hide the fact that it's northern Africa where our people come from, Israel. Africa was too close in proximity to what we would believe belongs to us. So instead of calling it North Africa, they called it the Middle East. Made it ambiguous so our people would believe that we belong someplace else. And that's utterly ridiculous. How do you know that's ridiculous? Well, how could there be a Middle East? Someone tell me where the middle north is, or the middle south, or the middle west. You see how ridiculous that sounds? They've been deceiving us the whole time, and none of that deception would have been possible if all the nations, including the nations that are getting judged now, weren't complicit. And that's why the war is going on we see right now. Esau is being used to judge the Middle East, only to stoke a war with Iran. Esau started the war. Iran is coming into the war with nuclear missiles. But it's our God who's going to finish the war. The God of the Hebrews. Ahiah is his name. He's sending Yeshaya, the king. So let's talk about this, Elder. Let's get the judgment on Moab real quick.
Yes, sir. Amos 2:1.
Hold on, let me grab it. Now here's the judgment you're seeing about them talking about women and children dying over there in Palestine right now. And again, I sympathize with all life. Okay, let me make it clear. No one in their right mind would even celebrate the death that we're seeing that's going on against the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. Only an evil person would look at that and say, well, that's what you get. No, we sympathize, but unfortunately, according to our God, you reap what you sow because you knew better. And I don't wish what happened to our people fall on anyone. But unfortunate for all of these other countries that have went against us in the past, I don't have a say on what happens to you. Okay? Because we would just forgive everything and forgive everybody. Unfortunate for you, you must pay for the sins of your forefathers like we did. Amos 2:1. Let's read it.
Amos 2. Yes, sir. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime.
And so this is what y'all don't understand, folks. What's going on over there is an age-old war. Esau is in payback mode. It was the Palestinians, the ancient Palestinians, who burned one of the kings of Edom in lime and like acid, burned it. So what happened? Now, see, we're Christians, folks. We believe in Christ. Right? We deal with forgiveness. Jewish people don't believe in Christ, folks. Netanyahu don't believe in Christ. It's an eye for an eye according to the Old Testament for them. So they're there in the Middle East for payback. Because one of their forefathers, they felt, was unjustly burned by the Palestinians in ancient time. That's that war you see right now. So when the American government, along with the UN, under the Balfour Declaration from England, gave these Europeans the Middle East, gave them that land called Israel, it was only to have them go there to settle old scores, ancient scores. That's what they're there for. They're not there to be to repatriate to be repatriated back to their homeland. They're not the people, folks. We're the people. So now the Bible tells you why Edom is actually there. Okay? This is what happened. And a lot of people out there, out of their minds, they don't even understand what a map looks like, are calling Chinese people Moab. That's utterly ridiculous. That's nonsense. Okay? Moab never left the borders of Israel. Neither did Ammon. There's no Bible history anywhere that says that Moab went to China. That's utter nonsense, okay? Moab and Ammon are the two areas on the outer skirts of Israel. That's Jordan and Palestine. That's Jordan and the Palestinians. And that's why both of those places are going down. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime. Read.
Verse 2. But I will send a fire upon Moab.
Read that again.
But I will send a fire upon Moab, and it shall devour the palaces of Kerioth. And Moab shall die with tumult, and with shouting, and with the sound of the trumpet. With shouting.
You hear the reports? They're claiming that they're bombing bunkers with refugees, and its children are screaming, and the women are dying, and they're screaming and shouting. Here is the vengeance of God. We're reading it. We are reading the so-called Israeli, which is really is Edom. The Israeli-Palestinian war is right here. You can't come over here to America, Palestinians, a place where our people are getting judged for the sins of our forefathers. Now the Most High is waking us up out of the curse, and the curse is falling on you. You can't come over here and tell us to march free Palestine. Palestine will never be free because you were on the stolen land before the white man got there. That land doesn't belong to you either. You helped Esau against us. And now you're going to come to us and say, we need to march and talk about free Palestine? When you come over here, claim to be black and brown and get all of the contracts and grants that belongs to our people to set up stores only to separate yourself and endear yourself to Esau. When everything you've ever received came through the blessings of Israel, our people. When you got the land, that was because the Most High was judging us and you went into the land. Had thousands of years of history there, only because our people are suffering throughout the diaspora without a home. And then when you come to America, did you say thank you? No. You claim to be us as minorities, only to steal more from us and align yourself with Esau against us. And now you want us to stand up and say free Palestine? See, this is what happens. This is what happens, brothers and sisters, when nations ignore their past. They're going to have to what? Confess their faults. They're going to have to confess their faults. They're going to have to say, you know what? We were complicit in killing the children of Israel. Can you forgive us? We was complicit coming into your country that you built, taking any resources that was established through what your forefathers died for. See this? See, our God is a righteous God. He's an equitable God. No one gets away. It's right here in the Bible. Talking about free Palestine. When you come over to America to help Esau oppress us, then you look down on us when you get your little stores and your little businesses that you would not have received unless you put what? Unless you put minority on the applications to get your grants and money and business loans, and you know all that money belongs to our people, black people, the children of Judah. That's why, brothers and sisters, I don't ever want to hear y'all out there talking about some black and brown coalition. There's never been a black or brown coalition. They've always, they're taking on either side. They've always taken from us on either side, folks. With not even a thank you in return. They stole our homeland. Then they're going to come over here and cosplay as black or minority. No, when you come over here, stand on your own. Even if you're gay, stand on your own. Don't try to say you are a minority. That minority money comes through civil rights. These were Christians getting the dog sucked on them. Water holes on our forefathers. Us being hanged and lynched by the likes of you, whether you were gay or not. Stand on your own. And what's wrong, Elder Lawyer, is that our people allow the wolves in. Believing there's enough for everybody. Well, there's enough for everybody. No, it isn't. But listen, when you come over here and apply for your applications, be it Chinese or anyone else, say you're white. There is no black or brown coalition. You've been usurpers. And now the Most High is bringing judgment. And guess what? There's no one here to march and plead your cause. Take it like we took the slave ships. Repent like we must do to get under the graces of our God. Allah cannot save you because Allah is not the God who put you in this condition, who's allowing Esau to bomb away. So we got to stop this stuff letting everyone align themselves with us. Because at the end of the day, they'll continue to be used by the powers to undermine and destroy us. That's what this immigration is all about. There's a judgment. the Jordan area, the Lebanon area. And folks, guess what they're not talking about? They've been jacking up. Syria have been leveled. You really hear them talking about how they've utterly destroyed Syria. All of these lands is an amendment from our God against all the nations who conspired with Esau to take Judah out in 70 AD. We're not dealing with it no more because Elder Lawyer is to a point where there's no appreciation for what we've allowed them to do. There's no appreciation for what we've given them. And if these nations had their way, they would outright kill us to take our place. Mm-hmm. And it was the so-called black and brown people in our neighborhoods during the time of the virus, administering all the drugs and all that to our people and convincing us to do it, only to make room for them to replace us. Jordan is going down, and I'm going to tell you this right now, Palestine is going down, and guess what? Hey, I just showed you. They've awakened a sleeping giant. The Medes is in full play. And guess what? China is over there now. Why is China over there? Well, China is over there because she needs the resources to sustain China. And they're all being moved to the Valley of Jehoshaphat to be destroyed. Elder Lawyer, let's get Ezekiel 38 real quick.
Yes, sir.
Before we do that, hold on real quick. We'll be back with part 2. Hit the like button. We're going into China and Iran. One moment.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Okay. So we're going to break this down geopolitically to make sure that even the layman can understand exactly what's going on in the earth today. It's so foreign for our people who are oppressed in America and throughout the world to really get a scope on what's happening over there. And we look at foreign policy as something that has nothing to do with us. Well, that's that fight over there. Folks, that has everything to do with us. Everything to do with us. Because these nations conspired against us to keep us under oppression without letting the world know that we were God's people. It took the Most High to send forth the Holy Spirit to start the awakening. Only Israel, the children of Israel, whom this book, this Bible belongs to, would be able to break down and give full understanding to everything going on in the earth, including the wars. Including the wars. No one understands why Ukraine is receiving so much money from America, why Israel is receiving so much money from America. Well, number one, it's actually to finance the Roman armies that we see in preparation for the battle, folks, of Jehoshaphat. And the same time they're doing that is to deplete all of the funds in America so that America can lose its power, and by default, all power goes back to Rome. They have no more use for America. Why? Because America was used to judge the children of Israel. And now the children of Israel has awakened. It was used for our servitude. But what happens when our people find out? Well, guess what? We'll realize that they could no longer serve, they could no longer build their country on our servitude. We'll realize that we weren't meant to be slaves. So when we awakened to the understanding that we're not supposed to serve these people, they said, well, okay. They know they're the children of Israel, so we must bring in other people to work in their place. See? So they can kill two birds with one stone. They'll pay the other people who's willing to do the work that now the Israelites know that we shouldn't be doing. Okay? We weren't meant to serve anyone. And then on top of that, we'll bring the servants in to get rid of them. That's why they're willing to put every last dime they have on immigration. It's a direct result of the awakening. See, when you program people and teach false doctrine in the church that the Bible tell us to serve the white man, and that's a doctrinal point of the New Testament, which is a lie. Well, the Bible says serve your master. The Bible never said that. When it talked about the masters and all that, it was speaking of the leaders of the church and following the leaders of the church. It had nothing to do with slavery. So for a long time, we believed that and say, well, we're supposed to serve the white man. They're God's people. A straight lie from the pits of hell. The Bible never backed any level of theology that would state that we were supposed to serve the white man because we are Gentiles. That's a lie that came from the Jesuits. We are not Gentiles. We're the children of Israel. The world was meant to serve us. And now that we've come to that knowledge, they're saying, well, okay, there's no need for these people. Let's bring in new servants. See how it works? Elder Lawyer, we're going directly to Ezekiel. We're going directly to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, let me grab it here. Ezekiel 38, verse 1.
Yes, sir. Ezekiel 38 and 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, Set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Hold up, Elder Lloyd. Read it once more.
Yes, sir. Verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
So he told the prophets, set your face against Gog and the land of Magog and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Why are we going here, folks? Well, we're going here because for so long, Elder, the Chinese people been operating against us under the radar. They've been literally, no pun intended, political and social ninjas working against our people. No one anywhere knew where to find the Chinese in the Bible. And guess what? Esau, boy, he's a cunning hunter. So he have to keep a secret weapon that no one can actually put their hand on. So he says, yeah, we'll tell through the wicked evangelicals, we'll tell everyone that Gog and Magog is Russia, because we got to keep those Chinese out of prophecy. That's our secret weapon, right? China, who worship the dragon outright, has always been Esau's secret weapon. See? So no one can point out, okay, where do China fit in all of this? They was used to take all the labor from America under the NAFTA agreement, where all of your products would leave the shores of America to be built in China. And you thought it was Chinese people, right? Stealing all your jobs? It was the bankers who set up in China. It was still Esau. But because they were set up in China, it made everyone believe it's the Chinese taking our jobs. They could have had those microchips and all those products built here by the descendants of slaves. They could have trained us in engineering and science and had everything built here. It would have been cheaper. Okay? Imports cost more. But they did it to slight us. The same with those labs that were over there in Wuhan, China. Those labs we thought was Chinese labs. No, they were labs that were set up under Fauci. So we think, oh, them crazy stuff coming from China, when it was Esau the whole time. Using China to actually build something, to cultivate a deadly disease that can only be made in the lab. Because it was illegal for them to cultivate that type of disease here on American soil, using China as the cover. That's why after everything was said and done, they broke China off, gave China an anti-hate crime bill under a COVID act on America, and gave them a minority status against us here in America. Because that has always been Esau's secret weapon against us. But we found out that Gog and Magog isn't talking about China at all. Right? See? You got the right ones here today, huh? What's before you right here? Uh-huh. What's before you right here? We got the goods. Huh? I got it right here. Let me minimize it a little bit. What is that there? Huh? That's from the ancient Eastern text of the Holy Bible. Same context. It didn't change anything. But when you go into the Holy Bible, the ancient Eastern text, that was translated directly from the Aramaic. We're almost giving y'all an academy class today, ain't it? Well, look at this, folks. Same chapter. Same chapter. Look at this. Let me blow it up for you. "38. Same chapter. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against China." Against who? China. So when you hear Gog and Magog, it's revealing Esau's secret weapon he uses against us. Those who worship the dragon. The dragon is Satan. Set your face against China and against the land of the Mongolians. Mongolia, Mongols, Chinese. The Chinese people are Japheth. The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. See that? So Esau always have a secret weapon in his pocket, and he hid China by this lie claiming that Russia was Magog, Gog and Magog, so that they can hide whom God is against. Esau and the Chinese works together against us. It's an evil, satanic alliance. In Revelation, it talks about Esau, the 7 heads, 10 horns. And it talks about it in the 12th chapter, and it talks about that Esau got his power from the dragon. Well, Esau isn't the only one who worshiped the dragon. The Chinese worship the dragon. The East Indians worship the dragon. Kamala, anyone? And then when you go to the 39th chapter, look, it says the same thing. And you, son of man, prophesy against China, and say, thus saith the Lord God, the God of the Hebrews. We talking to you Chinese people. Behold, I am against you, O China, and the ruler and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Our God are against the Chinese because they were some of the first immigrants used to test the water in our neighborhoods with immigration. And once they were able to do it, everyone else on the outside began to follow the infiltration. It wasn't about getting extra starch on your collars or getting some Chinese food. Everything we're witnessing now was their plan the whole time. They're the ninjas that are used to infiltrate and to destroy our people. And then once they weaken us, all the other nations follow suit. We were the working class of America. We were the working class. And they were afraid of giving us any what? Any leadway, because eventually we would move beyond the working class and become what? Controllers of our own communities. So they weren't going to let what happened in the civil rights with those strikes They weren't going to let us affect the American economy anymore with the power to stop America's economy. So what did they do? They sent in the Chinese. They made them a minority. Bill Clinton signed the NAFTA agreement, Democrat, that took all the jobs that gave us political power and leverage to give all of our jobs to Chinese people and East Indians to starve us out financially in the neighborhoods. And the Democrats was behind that policy. Had nothing to do with Republicans. Anything they make in China, we could have made because we were the workers here. But they were afraid we were going to take that money to control our own economies and communities. Why do you think Democrat ran cities are ran down to the ground? The only time they regenify them is when they're bringing the replacements over to replace our people who are being killed in the inner cities through misdiagnosis. And guess who is misdiagnosing us in our neighborhoods? The replacements. China. So now the Most High is saying, you know what? You need the resources to survive. So all the resources is in Africa and what you call the Middle East. So I'm going to make all of you depend on these resources to a degree where what? All your armies will have to come into this area at the very end. Not to sustain your cities, but to be judged. Folks, what I'm telling you is what's going on right now in the Middle East, with the bombing of Lebanon, with the bombing of different parts of Palestine, bringing China into the war, because the agreement is if China was going to be the new working class, then they, as America rises and as Europe rises, Chinese would tag along and be sustained through the war. That's the agreement. And it was all to slight us. I don't ever want to hear our people run around talking about some black and brown people ever again. You got this Asian woman, this Hindu. Because we allowed this black and brown garbage to happen, she was able to graduate from an HBCU. Show you how little they think of our sisters. To show you how little they think of our sisters. Our sisters broke the ground with great minds and other brothers who set up HBCUs for higher education. And instead of them actually choosing one of us, they would have an Asian come in from East India to cosplay our people, to show you how little they think of our sisters. Infiltrators. Elder Lawyer, let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse number 3. And say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal.
Our God, the God of the Hebrews, are against the Chinese government. Read.
4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
All of them handling swords. So China had to go into Africa and into the East for resources to sustain their industrial complex. They think they're there to rob resources from us like they've always done. Nah, you're there to lose your army. That's what you're there for. No army, no power. All of these nations think they're going into the Middle East to fight for control of the titanium, the lithium, all those mineral resources they want to allow Israel and Africa to benefit from. The Chinese talking about, yeah, we're here to do business with Africa. And our people don't even realize that these are the same alliances that trick you into selling your own people into slavery. They're not there to agree to do business with Africa. They're there to take Africa and kill your behind with misdiagnosis like they did our people, your brothers in America. China is not there to help out Africa economically. If our God didn't intervene, they would destroy your people as they've done us by misdiagnosing us in these cities. And now we got all types of sicknesses because they allow these people to come over and misdiagnose us. China is not in Africa to help Africa grow an equal alliance against Esau. Okay? If China was really down with Africa, they would give Africa plans to build their own missiles. Right, Elder Lawyer? Hold up. China has a bomb. China has a bomb. So I'd be like, no, you can't get no mineral resources over here unless you're able to help me build up our army to protect ourselves like you Chinese were able to. See? It's a bunch of garbage. They're there to take over to take over Africa and to kill our people there. Let's read it.
5. Persia.
Hold up. Persia. We know that's Iran. Come on. Ethiopia, because we know Ethiopia made an alliance with the so-called Edomite Israelis to build a dam that would actually dry up Egypt. I talked about that last week. Come on.
And Libya.
North Africa.
With them. All of them with shield and helmet.
Come on.
Verse 6. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. And
many people with thee. You got the Turkish people and all of them. They all are coming into the war. Read.
7. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Come on.
Verse 8. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
And they shall dwell safely, all of them. This is talking about what? Brothers and sisters, when we are in the wilderness, all of these armies we see over there, Chinese army, Iranian army, some of the American army, the UN armies, the Ukrainian army, all of them, the Russian army, they're all going to stop fighting one another and come after us in the wilderness. That's what they're there for. Who's the people who were brought out of all nations? That's speaking of future prophecy of us in the wilderness. And all the nations are going to stop fighting each other and say, you know what? We're here because of these people who resisted our power. Let's go against them. Let's read it. Let's read it, Elder Lawyer. Come on.
Oh, Salakia. Verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee.
The UN armies. And at this time, the majority of them are going to be chipped. They're going to be chipped already. Read.
Verse 10. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think in evil thought.
They shall think in evil thought. Read.
And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
That's us in the wilderness. Read.
I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey.
So they think they're going to take us down again like they conspired before. But no, you're not in the Middle East to win this war. You're in the Middle East because what? You're in the final war, not against us, but against the armies of God. You think you're going to come against us, but you don't know in that wilderness the invisible that's protecting us, like it was when we came out of Egypt. You think you're going to come against us, but that's when the invisible appears. That's when we understand the armies of God, the hosts of God, who Christ used to go throughout the earth to begin the awakening. I'm going to tell you, folks, the angel of the presence, the ministering angels, they report to God every day for us and come back to watch us. Guess what, folks? When their armies come against us, the angels will appear. They think they're there to come against our people, but they're there to lose their armies. The Bible tells you that the blood is going to be up to the camel's hoofs, and that the smell, the stench of their armies is going to stop the noses of those who pass through. They're there for the vengeance of God. That's what they're there for. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 12. To take a spoil and to take a prey, and to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land.
So we're going to have everything we need to survive, folks, even in the wilderness. That's why we don't fear and go and be all, erratic when we hear what's going on here. In order for the Most High to bring forth Jacob, the world must fall through war. The world must fall through war. Think about it. All the nations who conspired together are now fighting one another. That in of itself tells you that the Most High is freeing the minds of the children of Israel and are calling us back. It's going to be some time before a lot of this happens. We probably got a few years, but they got a time up to about 2030 to have everything locked down, to have everything in place to come against us. The whole infrastructure. Elder Lawyer, let's get Isaiah 13.
Yes, sir.
And we're going straight to the battle of Iran, who will eventually take out all that area of the Middle East. They're going to take out Greater Israel. They're going to take out, according to prophecy, they're going to take out Jordan, and they're going to take out the Palestinians. When I say they're going to take out, it's going to be Israel taking out all these other countries as we see right now. Jordan is next, and after that, simultaneously Palestine. Why? Because our God has written that all of those countries who betrayed Abraham must go. And you betrayed Abraham, that's right, folks, from how you've treated Abraham's children, the children of Israel. You betrayed Abraham. So the children of Lot, they betrayed Abraham, and they must go. So Israel is going to take out parts of Jordan. Anyone aligned with Israel, that's an ally with Israel in the Middle East right now, are going to get taken out by Iran. And the Palestinians, there will be no more land for the Palestinians. It's gone. It's finished. And then after that, the war comes to America. And it's not how people think it's going to be. A lot of people think, well, one bomb comes and America is destroyed. It doesn't work like that. America is too big for that. Missiles will hit key cities, and there will be an earthquake. Why? Because the fault line will be compromised, and America will be broken into 3 separate parts. People still going to be living in America, but the union will be totally abolished, and you will have separate governance on each part for a time. And then they're going to try to hire the slaves and others for the cleanup. That's how it's going to happen. People think a bomb is going to be dropped, and then that's the end of America's story. It doesn't work like that. Jeremiah 16 and 19. Let's get that real quick, Elder Lawyer, before we hit that, before we hit Isaiah. Revelation 16 and 19. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. The book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse number 19.
Okay, let me grab that. Hold on. Show you how it's going to happen. Read it. Matter of fact, let's start at 18.
Yes, sir. Verse number 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great.
And yet, Lot was the nephew of Abraham, but still, the children of Lot betrayed Abram. Let's read it.
19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts.
Let's read that 18th verse again, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Verse 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great.
Come on.
19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts.
That great city was divided into 3 parts. The great earthquake, when it talks about what? It talks about something hitting as a lead hits the earth. Boom, that's a bomb. Read.
And the cities of the nations fell.
And the cities of the nations fell.
And great Babylon came into remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
Come on.
20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found.
So what is John seeing here on the Isle of Patmos? Tsunamis. So all of the surrounding islands around America, when it hits the East Coast and parts of the West Coast, guess what's going to happen, folks? You got it. Tsunamis are going to take out all islands that are surrounding it from the bombs. Read.
21. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great.
And that's them living through the fallout. That's the judgment of Babylon that happens when the war of Iran starts in the Middle East and eventually comes to America. People are still going to be here, but they're going to be, it's not going to be, like it used to be. It's going to be to a point where all governance must go back to Europe. They're going to have to govern through the established government that's already set up that they haven't introduced to the world yet. Okay? And they did a test run with it, believe it or not, during COVID. The test run they did was having everyone stay home, and each state was being ran by governors. There was no local mayor with power. All power went to governors. City Hall was shut down. There was nothing going on but essentials, and people were led through governors. That was their test run, folks. But where were the governors getting their direction from? The UN body, the diplomats of the EU. See? Now the Most High said that after America is destroyed, then China is going to get hit. Because they're complicit in their conspiracy with that garbage, Wuhan garbage, scaring everybody, having their country be used as a proxy to attack us. Even though we were being attacked from the inside, they used China as a proxy. And guess what? Their governments were in cahoots. They were together in their attack against us in the inner cities. So after America is hit, then China gets it. Let's get that out of the Apocrypha real quick, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Where it talks about Asia. I think it's what? The 16th chapter? Adventure?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it. 2nd Ezra 16. Let's get straight to it.
All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 16. In fact, 15 and 46.
15 and 46. Thank you, Elder Lawyer. 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's it. 2nd Ezra 15, verse 46. What's next?
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, let's go to 43 first.
Yes, sir. Verse number 43. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. And they shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her.
The star are the missiles. Read.
Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
Read.
And 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
Come on.
46. And thou, Asia,
China. Read.
That are partaker of the hope of Babylon.
Because Chinese get her glory by doing what? Creating all of the products that were invented in America. See that? Engineering all of the products and patents that were made here. So China glory comes from the patents of America. And thou, Asia, that are partakers of the hope of Babylon. That's why they come over here to replace us in all this, because they really want our position. Read.
And art the glory of her person.
Read.
47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch.
The Bible says you Chinese are the wretch. Read.
Because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thyself or decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please the glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee.
Because Chinese once had honor. Now they got their doors over here being harloted out like Babylonians now. Read. 48.
Yes, sir. Verse number 48. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith God.
You have followed America in all her inventions. Everything America create, China produce. Read.
49.
I will send what?
I will send plagues upon thee.
There you go. Like you tried to plague us with that fake garbage and got that stuff administered to our men, women, and children in the hood. With that Chinese American type of narrative. And America put it on China so that no one could blame America for it. Even though Fauci was doing things in laboratories in China. You see the play? God seen them conspiring against us using China as a proxy. They're working together against us. So the plagues that you created, they're gonna get loose, but they're gonna fall on your people. So the plagues in the labs and all that you're creating to try to destroy us, those same plagues going to fall on your people. Thus saith the God of the Hebrews. Watch. And guess what? There will be no antidote. Okay? I will send plagues upon thee. Read on.
Widowhood.
Women without husbands. Read.
Poverty.
You're going down into poverty for trying to make us impoverished. And this is why China is trying to go into Africa in different parts, because they know the judgment that's coming on them. There's so many people in that country that they're out of resources for the numbers of their population. So they're moving all over the place to self-sustain themselves. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, read.
Famine.
Sword.
And pestilence.
To
waste thy houses with destruction and death.
With destruction and death. That's the future of China, according to God, because they've conspired together with Esau to come against us. And they've made themselves a minority to press up against us in our neighborhoods, to continue destroying our people. See that? Let's end it out with where we left in Isaiah 13.
Yes, sir.
Let me get it here. I'm there.
All right, from the top or straight to the Medes?
Let's go straight to the Medes.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 13 and 17.
Isaiah 13, verse 17.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
I will stir up the Medes against Babylon, folks. The Medes are Iran. You think the Israeli government over there who's fighting against Iran don't know these prophecies? They know the prophecies. But guess what, folks? With their crazed ideology, they believe that they must instigate the war so to bring forth their Messiah. Out of their minds. Speak to their rabbis, folks. They know this prophecy, but they feel, okay, well, we're going to speed it up so that our Messiah can come. That's the delusion amongst their rabbis. But guess what? They're going to stir it up, but this is what's going to happen. What God says. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. That's what's going on right now. Read.
Which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
And you're not going to be able to negotiate with them. They're not into regime change. You can't pay them. See? You can't pay them. You can sanction them all you want. They don't care. Sanction means we're going to cut you off from the international trade and cut off your financial supply to your country. That's trying to bribe them to get along with the 10 horns. And the Bible says there's no payment you can give Iran. See? They don't care. If you sanction them, they'll say, well, listen, we have enough resources within our country to sustain our citizens. So you can't bribe them like you've done toppling other countries. And on top of that, they have nuclear capability. So the only thing we can do is sit back and watch the stars or the missiles fly, because that's what comes next. 18.
Their bows shall dash the young men to pieces. They shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
Look at that. The future of America. This is what all of those billions of dollars has gone to. That 300 billion that America and America have given them in specific and foreign aid, it has gone to Israel to instigate the war. So America is being double-crossed by their only ally in the Middle East, as they claim. Because the Israelis, guess what, folks? They have dual citizenship. And as Israelis, they can live anywhere in the country and receive housing and finances. They can live anywhere in the world. Their dual citizenship give them access to any country. So that's what that 300 billion since 1948 has gone to. It's going to destabilize the Middle East, to instigate a war against Iran, only to have Iran topple the country that supported Israel. See? And at that point, Esau is going to be satisfied, because why? All power goes with him the last 7 years before judgment. So now Esau will bring his order out of the chaos. All of the countries are going to have to get down with the EU now, led spiritually through the Vatican. But guess what? That's who Christ is going to war against and destroy. He's going to fight Christ against the Roman Empire. And that will lead to the final war. And guess, Elder Lawyer, where we're going to talk about that final war at, huh?
Sir, that next academy.
Wasn't that a smooth segue, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was a smooth little segue there to our academy that's coming. The fall of the last empire, from Rome to America. The first time taught in our Hebrew and Bible Academy. The fall of the last empire. And if you think this class was anything today, we done quantified Libya, Ethiopia, the Middle East, China, America, Rome. Folks, we've broken down a lot geopolitically what's going on in the earth right now in a couple hours. You can't even imagine what the fall of the last empire will be like in the next academy. It's prophecy time. So this is what we're doing with the next academy. We're breaking down those precepts. We're going into prophecy real time. And if something happened that day, we're going to break it down up to date. That moment, thus saith the Lord. All right?
Sir.
So go to historytimes.org to enroll. Okay, Elder Lawyer, what will we be going into tomorrow?
Tomorrow will be the 4 beasts of Daniel.
The 4 beasts of Daniel, the 4 empires leading to the mark of the beast. I'm going to just touch a little bit on the mark of the beast with that also. So, yeah. Here it is. Boy, Elder Lawyer. Today remind me of one of those throwbacks, young man.
Sir, yes, indeed.
One of those throwbacks. Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is one that I'm going to save on my computer because you know what? I believe this is going to resonate and it's going to age well when it comes to future prophecy. So many things was touched upon in this particular lesson. Matter of fact, I'm going to save it right now because I believe this particular lesson today quantified so much, from the fall of Jerusalem to how all the nations have conspired against us. And now the Most High is sending judgment against all these nations who have undermined and continue to undermine the children of God.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I would advise everyone, if you're not doing it already, get in the habit of downloading these videos. As you stated earlier, we're coming into a time in which politically they're trying to keep certain messages out of circulation. So next thing you know, YouTube will come up with some new guideline, which will pretty much demonize this video and have it removed from YouTube. So again, if you're not doing it already, get yourself a hard drive so that you can download these lessons and have them as time goes. You'll see these things that we're talking about play out in real time.
And it'll also remind people, Elder Lawyer, how the Most High have always worked with this church.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, it's only through the Holy Spirit that would allow us to have this understanding, to actually roll it out to be easily understood. Now, I'll tell you this. We're breaking this down, and guess what? Whether people hear or forbear. That means even if you disagree with what we're talking about, what cannot be denied is that we told you, according to the Most High. Guess what? I could care less whether or not someone believes it or not. That's on you.
Right.
I know I believe, and I will do what? I will prepare accordingly. Anyone who decides to look at it and say, well, that's incorrect, hey, knock yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, the truth will bear witness. We did our job. Okay? So with that, thank you, Elder Lawyer. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for assisting me today. I really appreciate you, my brother.
Yes, sir. As always.
All right. Thank you, Elder Lawyer. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath.
All right. You do the same.
All right. Shalom. Well, that concludes our lesson, brothers and sisters. Hit the like button and make sure you join the Patreon, patreon.com/agathering144, so you can get into our weekly Friday classes in which we're going to set up some debate soon. And we're going to also open that up for more interaction as far as Zoom or what have you. I'm Elder Rikash Yar. See you tomorrow in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, where we'll go into the 4 beasts of Daniel. We are the children of Israel, and I thank the Most High through the Holy Spirit and through his son Yeshua that the children of Israel have awakened. That's right. We're the children of Israel, and we're back. Have a great Sabbath. Let's play the song.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us.
At gunpoint.
Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. Our highest gathering is right here.